Okay, this video is going to be on step-by-step process on how to polish aluminum. This is going to be on my motorcycle frame. This is a 04 RC51, and it already had a just bare aluminum. It was brushed aluminum frame, so I didn't have to strip any paint. This is what it originally looked like. There's a swing arm, and it's just that brushed aluminum. And this is it polished. I did this about 10 years ago, and so over time got wet and I let it go, but I'm going to be polishing it back up today, and I'm going to do step by step on how to polish it from how it used to look to how it'll look when I'm done, and it'll look like a mirror when I'm done. Now, a lot of people say they got how-to videos on how to polish, and they'll say it'll look like a mirror, but everybody's definition of mirror or polished aluminum is different. It's all subjective, and you could take it as far as you want to go, but mine will literally look like a mirror or chrome, and I'll show you. I've already done the other side. I'll show you here in a minute. But what you're gonna need is you're gonna need a bucket full of water, just water. This is dirty from me doing the other side, but a bucket of water. You're gonna need sandpaper. I've already cut up what I needed. I got 800 grit. Now I ran at 1,000 grit, but you should have 1,000 grit also. And 15, 2,000, 2,500, and in the bucket I got 3,000 grit. Like I said, you could take it as far as you want to go. Some people only go 800 to 1,000, and then they'll use the polish. And this is the polish that I like. I think it works the best. I actually use 3 of them now. I bought this because it said it was a sealant, and it would help, you know, obviously stay longer, keep it polished longer. But believe it or not, this will actually scratch the aluminum after I sanded it down to 3,000. This has more abrasive in it than 3,000 grit. It actually has more abrasive than 2,000 grit. So I don't know, you don't have to use that, but I use it anyways. I use it after I'm completely done sanding it. I'll use this first. Then I'll use this Mother's Mag Aluminum Polish. This is really good. I'll use that. And then to finish it, I use this billet. And every single one of these makes a difference, and it makes a huge difference as long as you do it right. And I'll show you right now just how good it is once you're all set and done. So this is the finished side. This looked like the other side earlier today. Like I said, I polished this about 10 years ago, and I just kind of let it go. I got real busy with life. I haven't even ridden this bike in 2 years, and I decided this winter I'm gonna get it back going. So, you know, I'm just kind of doing everything. Get a new battery. I gotta change the fuel, antifreeze oil, but part of it was the frame. Had to get it looking good again. And you can see just how perfect this is. It's literally like a mirror. I even brought a mirror to show you the difference, and there's like no difference. So like I said, everybody's definition of polished aluminum and mirror-like finish are different. Mine's that, literally like a mirror. One note is that different types of aluminum will come out differently in the end, and example is this is rolled, I guess, aluminum tubing. I don't know the type of aluminum it is. And this part right here, you see where the weld is separating them. This was all cast aluminum, and it started out like this, very, very rough, coarse, bumpy. But anyways, this was cast aluminum, and the finish on it This is the main frame. It's like a mirror. This one, also like a mirror, but just a little bit duller, but you could still see my reflection easily. Unfortunately, there's really nothing that I know about that you could do about that. That's just the way it is. On the flip side, your leg does go there, so it covers it. And when you take it out in the sun, this thing is shining so bright you don't even notice it. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. This right here is gonna look 100 times better than, you know, anybody that's only taking it to 1,000 and then polishing it. It's just gonna look way better. Anyways, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this, on showing you how to do this step by step. Got the damn fingerprints on there. Anyways, yeah, I'll do a step by step, and I'm only gonna do just a little portion on the other side so this video doesn't take forever, because literally this one side, if you want your bike looking like this, or your aluminum, whatever aluminum you're doing, it's gonna take you a while. Now you could use power tools. We'll speed up the process. Like here on the cast, I first sanded it with actually 60 grit, and then like 220, 400, made my way slowly up to 800, but I used a palm sander for the 60 and 220. After that, I did everything by hand. This, you can go straight to either 4 or 800 depending on what you want to do. But I found it that it's much, I think it's just as easy to do it by hand. It's more time consuming, but to get power tools into here, small spaces like this, around here, down in here, and up here, unless you're completely disassembling your bike. But I mean, if a buffing wheel hits this for more than a couple seconds, this painted tank, and you're not paying attention, it'll burn the paint, or it could even go through the paint. And this tank is almost $1,000 nowadays because they're getting harder and harder to find. Repainting it is a bitch. You don't want to do that. So this process is going to be pretty much completely by hand. So let me put the camera on the handlebar mount because I don't have a tripod. And like I said, we'll do a little section here, and see, it doesn't look so dull until you see the other side and you're like, wow, it's pretty bad. You know, if you get up close, you'll see all the water spots. Let's see if we can get one. All the water spots. So we're gonna take this back down to about an 800 and get all them water spots out. Tiny little rock chips that have happened over the years. Like I said, I did this 10 years ago. Never polished it since then. So, and this bike has over 50,000 miles on it, so it's got some use, got some wear and tear. But we're gonna get it looking good again. Alright, got the camera on the handlebar mount. What you're gonna wanna do is, I got my bucket of water here. Just dip the sandpaper. I cut them in all 2" by 2" squares. They're easy to hold. You don't even need one of those, whatever the sanding deals. You just do it all by hand. What I do, gotta keep it wet. But I sand it in an X pattern. I'm just gonna do right here just for the video. Back and forth. Redip it. And we're gonna slowly go from the 800 grit all the way to the 3000 grit in the X pattern. And while we're doing that, we're gonna be watching the scratches that the sandpaper put into the aluminum, making sure that the deepest of scratches come out before we go to the next sandpaper, before we go to the next grit up. So right here, there was no deep scratches to begin with, no rock nicks or nothing like that. So all the scratches that are in it right now are from this 800 grit that I'm using. So we're gonna go ahead and discard that one. Wipe this down, take a good look at it. And looks pretty good to me. We're gonna go to the, now since I've ran out of 1000 grit, I'm gonna go to the 1500, but it would be a little bit easier if you had all the sandpaper in between. Then you don't have to work as hard. It does take some time, but it's not hard. And the reason why I'm doing an X pattern is because when you're doing this, you can see your scratches that you're putting into the frame. And so when I do diagonally like this, all the scratches are going the same way that my hand's moving right now. And when I flip it back the other way, they're going the opposite, so I know exactly where I've been. And I could tell if the scratches are coming out. And as you move up through the sandpaper, you got to make sure you get all the scratches out from the previous size down. If you don't, you're going to see it once you polish it and you're going to be pissed because you got to go all the way back down to where the scratches are. If you miss like an 800 grit sandpaper and you polish it all the way, you're gonna have to go 800 through wherever you stop, whether it be 1,000, 2,000, or 3,000. You're gonna have to do them all over again just to get that one little scratch out. I think that looks about good. Let's look. Don't see any deep scratches. Looks good to me. So we're gonna go to the, let's see, that was a 1500. Now we're gonna go to the 2000 grit. After each step, after each grit and sandpaper, you can stop if you want and polish it like the way I'm going to show you here in a minute. And if that's the amount of shining you want, then you can stop. You don't have to keep going. I mean, obviously this is going to take a while. It took me a few hours to do the other side, and that was already polished years and years ago. So when you're starting from scratch, it's going to be a day-long project if you want it getting looking like the way I have it. But like I said, after each step in sandpaper, you can stop and polish it, and if that's the amount of shine you want, then you can just stop. But if you want mirror, this is the only way that I know how to do it, besides using power tools, and those can cost quite a bit of money, those high-speed 7-inch grinding wheels, buffing wheels. The one that does it pretty good, they're around $250 and up. So that's just the grinder. That's not counting the pads and the cutting material to do it. So doing it this way is you'll be well under $100 with the sandpaper and all the polish and microfiber towels. Let's see how that looks. It's not too bad. Honestly, I'm starting to see some water spots that are showing up. Now that the scratches are getting even finer, makes them easier to see. I'm probably going to go back once this video's over, once I'm done showing you, and go back to 800 and get those water spots out. But that's just me, because I'm crazy like that. But anyways, done with the 2000. We're going to go to 2500. Thinking. Just want to use moderate pressure. Your hands and fingers will be hurting after doing this all day. But there's no real other option. You can't use a sanding block because, probably can't tell in the video, but this frame is a little concave in areas like this, and sanding block really won't work too well for situations like this. Keep going in that X pattern. And it's getting to a point where it's already going to be kind of reflective, just because the sanding process, the scratches are so fine. Take a look at this. Kind of looks like stainless right now. Go a little bit more with the 2500. Then we'll finish off with the 3000. Oh, and by the way, you can get all this stuff at pretty much any auto parts store, whether it be AutoZone, O'Reilly's, CarQuest, Advance, whatever you got. Pretty much all of them have this stuff in stock. Like I said, everything is a sandpaper, polish, microfiber towels or rags. Everything it'll probably be under 50 bucks. I don't know, it's been so long, so I just had this stuff lying around. But, I mean, beats paying a couple hundred just to buy the tools, to use power tools on this. Or even, this can get, depending on how much you do, if you do your swing arm and wheels, spend well over $1,000 paying someone else to do it. And that's if they do it right. They get in here with a power tool and damage your paint. That won't be good. Alright, let's look at that. pretty good. Now we're gonna finish it with the 3000 grit. This is kind of like a sponge almost. This really takes those fine scratches out. See this. That looks, I mean, some people might even like that finish. That looks pretty good. If I was going this direction, it would look just like brushed aluminum. So if you like that, I mean, that's a pretty good look. But we're going for mirror here, so let's go on to polishing. First, we're going to start with this white diamond metal polish. We're just going to put a little bit on the rag and very lightly. Let's see here. My rags are all dirty from doing this all day. Very lightly, just go back and forth. You don't want to put a lot of pressure. Like I said, this stuff, you don't even have to use this stuff if you don't want to, but if you go lightly, it just helps get those scratches even finer and finer. If you press hard though, like I said earlier, it'll go down to, it'll put scratches deeper than 2000 grit. You want to go till this starts to turn black. That's about it right there. Wipe it off. Didn't really do much for polishing. But that's okay because the other two are going to really make it come to life. I'm going to go with the standard Mother's aluminum polish. Always start with this. It does a really good job of polishing it up. This will make it look real good. Again, just use light to moderate pressure back and forth. I'm going across my X pattern now to try and get out the rest of those scratches that were all in the X pattern. And I'm going to keep the whole frame. When I polish it, I'm going to go this direction, because if there's any tiny little scratch from polishing, it'll show up a lot less if they're all running the same way. If you're doing circles, you're going to see the swirl marks. They will stand out a lot more than straight scratches. But we're not really going to have any scratches, so that doesn't matter. Alright, wipe this off. Where's my blue rag? There it is. Buff it. And it's really starting to come to life now. I'll go ahead and do the standard mother's polish again. Kind of do polishes in multiple times. The more you do it, brighter it'll get. Sometimes I go up and down, help get those finer scratches out, and then back to, I always finish it off with back and forth like this, long ways. You always want a real clean rag to buff it out, that last little bit of polish out of there. This is starting to look real good, but not as good as I want it to, so keep going. There we go. This is still the standard mother's polish. Use just a little bit more pressure this time. Now on the container it says to use it sparingly and you don't have to press hard, but I honestly do the exact opposite. I use plenty. I press a little harder. Just overdoing it over the time. You get a technique to do it, and I found that I get a much better finish when I use more of it and when I press a little bit harder. So that right there is like a mirror, but I'm not done. Now we're going to go to the mother's billet and finish it off. And I'll probably do this, probably about the same amount, three coats of it. Not really coats, but polish it 3 separate times. And each process that I do, whether it be sanding or polishing, I'm just showing you a small part of the frame, just to keep the video as short as I can. But each process I would do on the whole frame. So starting out with 800 grit, actually since this was cast aluminum back here, I would go ahead and get that down. I started it with 60 grit with a palm sander, brought it up to 800, then from 800 on, I'd do the whole frame, front to rear, 800, then the whole frame, 1000, whole frame, 1500, so on and so on. And the same with polishing. Each step that I do the whole frame multiple times before I moved on to the next step. And that gives you a more uniform finish throughout the whole thing. Alright. Yes. Let's do it a couple more times and that'll be it. Couple disclaimers. If you do this, if you polish your frame or polish whatever you're going to polish, there pretty much is no going back to the way it used to be. So like this used to be brushed aluminum and it looked good, but you're never gonna get it to go back to the way it used to look, not any way that I know of at least. And also, this is a maintenance pig. So if you ride your bike daily, day, night, rain, shine, dirt, mud, whatever, just know that it's going to be a bitch to keep clean, because once you get polished aluminum wet, you got to dry it instantly before it air dries. Otherwise it'll leave water spots, and you're going to have to go back and repolish the whole thing, like all the water spots that was on this before. And we're going to do it one last time. You can actually see the way the frame used to be right here. This is still brushed aluminum. My fairings cover up from here down. So yeah, I didn't really care about that. But if you have a painted frame, I mean, it's one heck of a project. You could still sand it the way I did and get the paint off, but I don't think it'd look too good. I think if you want to polish your painted frame, the best thing to do is go ahead and just completely disassemble your bike, and then strip the paint, and then go throughout the sanding process. But because you're gonna have paint here and paint on the neck and everywhere you can't get to, or I mean, it's gonna look bad. Let's see where we're at. Finish off with the clean one. See if we can. Take this off this mount here. So, there it is, like a mirror. I mean, you can really read and see Sony camera. This is the way it was. This is what happens when you let your polished aluminum go. And it looks like crap. But this is how we started. And let it go, and then bring it back to life. And in the end, looks like a glass mirror. That's how to polish aluminum.